Okay, so a week ago, my wife and I purchased our first electric vehicle. It is a 2023 Ford Lightning, and I thought maybe I should document some of our struggles and things that we've run into that didn't expect to. And so we've had it for about a week now, and I've been thinking about it for a few years. What it would be like to have an electric vehicle and how it would apply to our situation, if it would work out for us or not. And I really liked a lot of ideas about it, and we ran across a situation where it was financially advantageous for us to purchase this vehicle. And we transitioned from a Ford Expedition Max into this vehicle. We've got 3 kids, and so there's going to be not a struggle, but there's going to be different things that we have to work out in that respect as well. But I think all 3 kids seem to fit in the back just fine. And my wife is a realtor. It'll be her vehicle, and we put on a lot of miles in a year, and I think this vehicle will suit us really well as far as hauling her supplies around and be able to fit the radius that she normally travels. So this vehicle is supposed to be able to drive 320 miles on a single charge. I'm almost certain that's probably going to be a little optimistic, but I think most of our driving, 95% of our driving, is probably within a 100-mile radius of our home. So I think it'll work out all right if we charge at home, and we should be able to make it back the same day. But there are conflicting things that I found online. I've done a lot of research, and there's been a really steep learning curve with it. But I found instances where they say really cold weather can be a factor in pulling heavy trailers and things. We won't be pulling trailers, I don't think, very much, if at all. But we do live in North Dakota, and the weather is extremely unpredictable. So it might be 20 below one week, and then the next week it might be 30 above in the summer, or winter, and then in the summer, of course, it can be 100 degrees. But they say, yeah, the heating is the biggest issue. So we do have a heated garage, so it's going to stay inside the heated garage in the wintertime. So it's going to be leaving warm, so hopefully that'll help with the range. We don't go on a lot of long trips. We found out that there's a big network of Ford chargers that are available for viewing on the Ford Pass app to help you with planning out long trips, where you can stop, where the chargers are. The pickup itself will tell you the range that you have before you run out, things like that, and able to calculate your estimated distance and things like that. But I'm sure there's a lot of factors that are going to, it's very windy in North Dakota, for instance. So if you're pushing wind, it's going to maybe cut your mileage quite a bit. I don't know. So yeah, really steep learning curve with it, and I thought maybe I should start documenting some of the challenges that we've faced already and solutions that we found. Like I said, we only had it for a week, so it's pretty early on in the experience, but so the first thing we ran into was charging issues. So where we live, we have to drive, it's 40 miles one way to the nearest charger, and that charger is a level 2 charger, which would take all day to charge. So we'll get into that in a little bit, but so otherwise it's 60 miles to the nearest fast charger for us, which is a problem. So we have to be able to charge it up in our home, but you buy the pickup and they don't give you a way to charge it. They expect you to live in an area where you can fast charge it, I suppose, or something, but that's not an option for us. So we're kind of up against it. We drove it home from the dealership 60 miles, and then we're like, okay, now we sit and look at it because we can't drive it anywhere. It's out of charge. So basically, what we ended up doing is Ford, with the deal that we got, they're giving us a free charger, free 80 amp level 2 charger, which will charge this pickup from 20% to 80% in 8 hours, which will be great for us. There's some other challenges with that, but basically when you purchase it, then it gets ordered, and it's an unspecified amount of time before you see that. Plus, you should get an electrician to wire it in for you. And you have to have electrical capability, obviously, to operate it. So anyways, what we ended up doing was purchasing this charger right here. It was an extra $500. That's a level 2 and level 1 charger, but it can run off of a 110 volt plug-in, just that everybody has, but that takes forever to charge. It would take literally probably a week to charge this pickup from 20% to 80% off of that. And then you can also plug it into a 220 outlet, but you need a 50 amp 220 outlet. So like a welder outlet works, but you need an adapter to go. Basically, the plug-in for this is similar to an electric dryer. which is not the same as a welder plug that most people would have. So I ended up having to make an adapter because I didn't have time to wait. You can order them on Amazon, but basically that was another struggle, I guess, that we had to get through there. But we had it for probably 5 days before we were even able to get this, because they didn't have even this charger in stock, and we had to order it. So it's like, huh. And it was supposed to take a day, took 2 days, blah, blah. Anyways, so we finally have this charger, and this will charge, it took 14 hours, I think, to charge from 25% to 80%. So that wasn't too bad. I mean, you can do that overnight. You know, a longer night, obviously. If you get home late and plug it in, it's not going to be 100, you know, you're not going to have it full the next day. But so basically, yeah, that covers our charging issues, I guess, so far. But yeah, now we're able to charge it, and it's really neat. We're able to program how high you want to charge. Basically, Ford says you should charge it to 90% normally, unless you're going on a long trip, and then you should, you know, charge it to 100%, of course, so you have full capacity then. Otherwise, yeah, but there's a lot of struggles, and I kind of want to document the things that we've run into that we're not expecting. The main one for me, they talk about range anxiety. For us, that's a real thing in North Dakota because there aren't a lot of chargers, fast chargers to come by. So basically, you really got to plan out your trips, figure out where your chargers are, and we haven't done a long trip yet, so we don't even know for sure. But the biggest surprise for me was I was thinking, well, okay, if it's supposed to go 320 miles, even on a bad day, we should be able to make it 200 miles or 220 miles. You know, to me, that's a big drop in range. Turns out it might not be a big drop in range. Like, a big drop in range might be like only making it 100 miles. It's like, whew, that's not very far at all for us. So, I mean, yeah, our regular trips are about 15 miles one way. That's our regular daily type of trip. But, you know, my wife being a realtor, she services a larger area, and I would say she might go out 40 miles one way pretty easily, maybe 50, you know, just with her normal daily routines. I too am self-employed. I'm a farmer, so my trips are not necessarily well planned either or predictable. So yeah, I might need to get some parts 200 miles away. That's happened. So yeah, basically the way we're going to operate it is we're going to have it plugged in every night and charged probably to 90% no matter what. So we're prepared for whatever we could run into the next day. We do, as you can see, have a second vehicle as well. It's an older 2006 F350 diesel. So that's going to pull our heavy trailers and maybe make some longer trips if this electric vehicle isn't up to the task. But it'll be really fun and interesting, I think, to see, maybe scary too, how far we can go different times of the year. So when you read some of these blogs or some of these forums that explain the different charge capability or driving capabilities of, you know, what you might lose in cold temperatures. Everybody has a different definition of cold. So one person's thinking, you know, from California or something, oh, if it gets below 30 degrees, it's going to lose some range. It's like, well, try dropping 50 degrees off of that. That's what we're going to be running into. So, I mean, if it's going to lose a lot of range at 30 degrees, it's going to lose most of its range, I would think, at negative 20. So that'll be interesting. I haven't found any information on the internet that's going to tell me what to expect as far as that goes. So we're pretty much done with winter here right now for the year. So we'll have summertime experience coming up here. And then next fall here, we're going to get into the winter range anxiety issues there. But we'll see what summertime does. So right now it's still new yet. We haven't gotten very many miles on it. So the predictions of how long it takes to charge and how long the charge will last, how much range we have is really variable right now. I'm hoping that gets more accurate the more miles we put on it. So it should know what the battery's capable of and how long it takes to charge. Because I plugged it in the other day, just yesterday, and it only had 15% to charge up. And it told me it was going to take like 6 hours. So I'm like, it better not take 6 hours to charge up 15% from 70 to 85 is what I was going for. And no, it quickly changed to like 2 or 3 hours or something like that. So the estimations do fluctuate a lot real time as it's happening. So that's kind of frustrating. Just like driving a gas pickup and it tells you, oh, you have 300 miles of range, you know, before empty. And then, you know, all of a sudden you start bucking a bunch of wind, or you just start driving faster or something like that, and all of a sudden that range drops. So yeah, there's range anxiety with gas pickups too. And it does fluctuate with different driving scenarios that you run into. So this is just going to be fluctuate a little bit more. And I've had a vehicle before in the past that had a very small gas tank, and it was a very small engine, and that was greatly affected by weather. And I remember multiple situations where I was driving along and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to make it on the gas. And like, I've made this trip 100 times, always made it on one tank, but now all of a sudden, in this particular scenario, I couldn't. Like, I had to fill gas before I got home. The nice thing was there's lots of gas stations. In this situation, you don't have that. So that's going to be the biggest factor there, I think. And again, yeah, planning ahead of time. And my biggest fear is I'm on a schedule, got to be somewhere, and I get to where I want to charge, and there's someone already charging there. Because that's another thing that we learned, I guess, how long it takes to charge on a fast charger. We've never done it yet, but they say 15 minutes to 45 minutes to fully charge up to 80%. I shouldn't say fully charged, but yeah, that last 20% we're told takes a really long time. So basically when you're fast charging, you get to 80%, hit the road. That's going to be your biggest time saver. So that being said, I guess, yeah, if you got to a charger, it was the only charger there and somebody's using it, now you got to wait for them for 15 minutes to 45 minutes, however long they're going to charge. That's how long you're going to sit there before you can even start charging yours. So you plan on losing half hour, 45 minutes, but now you've lost an hour and a half, you know? So that's going to be a huge game changer in my opinion. And as far as infrastructure, if it doesn't catch up with demand or keep up with demand, you know, that could be a real struggle on a long trip. But most long trips that we take, we're not in a big hurry. You know, we're not on a big time schedule. You know, it's nice to be able to predict when you're going to get somewhere, but that's not always possible. So that being said, yeah, again, we shouldn't have a huge issue, but it's just things that you need to think about. You need to think about your life differently than you used to, because with a gas vehicle, it's like, okay, leaving here right now, I'm going to be there at this time, as long as you don't have a failure, a flat tire or whatever, which you could have with this too. But yeah, barring any unexpected, you know, catastrophe, it's going to take you exactly this long to get there. And like our expedition that we had, that thing, you fill the gas tank. It had a humongous gas tank, and yeah, you could drive like 450 miles or more. And yeah, it was painful to fill it at $3.50 a gallon, but you know, once it was full, you could drive a long ways, much longer than we normally would, you know, especially with 3 little kids. So yeah, on average we go 3 to 4 hours maximum before we'd have to stop anyway. So if we have to stop for a half hour every 3 hours, that's not a huge deal for us. The biggest struggle to me is going to be like, okay, we want to make that stop count. So yeah, if we're going to stop for a half hour, we'll time it out so it's lunchtime, but there better be something to eat wherever this charger is. Because, or we could get, you know, drive through or whatever on our way to the charger, something like that. But basically, yeah, again, it's just planning. It's just, you know, I don't think that's a huge issue, as long as, you know, it's just changing how you do things a little bit. And getting back to charging a little bit now. So I've got 100 amps on my breaker panel over here. And the charger that they're sending us, the larger level 2 charger, is going to require a 100 amp breaker. So basically I'm going to max out that panel with just the charger. So theoretically I may not have enough power to run my lights, technically, if I ran that for charger at full bore. It is adjustable, so you can turn down the output on the charger from 80 amps to 64 is where I'm going to set mine, and hopefully it's still faster than the current charger that I'm using. But yeah, it's not as fast as it could be. But down the road, I think I might end up running another line to my garage. And there's a long story behind that, why I didn't do that earlier, but yeah, I might just end up doing that now if we can't get along with 64 amps, I guess. I mean, 80 would be faster, obviously, but I don't know if we're ever going to run into an issue where it's like, oh man, if I could have saved an hour, you know, would have made all the difference. But so anyways, yeah, so right now we're going to charge probably 64 amps with the biggest charger that we get whenever it gets here. It's not even here yet. So that's the plan, and I'm gonna wire it in myself is my plan, I guess, because getting electricians can be very difficult and time consuming as well. So anyways, that's how we're gonna handle that for now, and any more updates that I have, I will follow up with those.